Yes, Prashant sir, we are good to start. Over to you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, yeah. So just a brief about the speakers. I am Prashant Mudbidri, founder and director at Logix Info Security, and I have my co-host Vineet Janardhan. He's a solution architect at Barracuda, and we both are going to present this topic on Office 65 cloud-to-cloud backup. Before we start, I would like to ask you one golden question. Does Microsoft 365 guarantee you 100% availability of your data? I would like the participants to give their opinion to this question. The options that are presented here, yes, it guarantees 100% availability of data. No, it guarantees only 99% of times uninterrupted access to data at all times. And the third option is though M365 guarantees only 99.9% availability, we still believe that M365 will deliver 100% availability of data. So please feel free to post your opinion for this poll. Has the participants responded, Animesh?
Yes, sir.
What's the Yeah, it's a hung response which says 50% are aware that 99 only availability is guaranteed 99.9%. People who believe that it is guaranteeing 100%, there's a little different opinion about it. I will present the opinion in the forthcoming slides. And the third, people are blindly believing Microsoft, but they are not guaranteeing it. Okay, so let's move on. So Microsoft does not take responsibility to ensure availability of data. Now, this is well mentioned in their service level agreements as well. If you may not have read the service level agreement very clearly, but it clearly states that we strive to keep the services and up and running. However, all online services suffer occasional disruptions and outages, and hence Microsoft is not liable for any disruption or loss or may suffer as a result. In event of outage, you may not be uh, able to retrieve your content or data you stored. We recommend that you regularly back up your content and data that you store on services or store using third-party apps and services. So they are completely absolving themselves from any kind of untoward incident that can happen. I we Logix being one of the largest partner for Microsoft, we have had a couple of instances, and one of the instances I would like to narrate here. It was a C-level executive of a large firm, and his data, his email data, online archived email data, was not visible from the year 2020 to 2022. There was no email found in from that period. We had to raise a ticket with Microsoft. Microsoft investigated the matter. It took around 15 days of back and forth for till then Microsoft restored that data. But think about the plight that C-level executive could not access his vital mails for that period of time, and he was left having no choice but to you know face that situation. So it is clearly recommended that you take backup. So going back to the poll, the people who said yes to the answer is no. They don't take the responsibility of availability of data. What if one fine day you find that your Microsoft tenant, when your user logs in, does not see any email or any data in his OneDrive or any data on his SharePoint? What would be the plight? Just think, put yourself in that situation for a minute and think what would be the repercussions. Yes, you will hold Microsoft responsible for doing it. You might follow it up, but at the end, the responsibility is you being the IT responsible person will be answerable to the management saying that what happened to my data? Where is it? Okay. Moving ahead, we all know Microsoft has an excellent adoption rate. It is anticipated that around 50 million seats of or mailboxes have been sold in just in Indian geography, and the data is majorly stored in these apps. Largest being the mailbox and the online archival data. The second is OneDrive. The third is Teams channels, and the fourth is SharePoint. So that's the size of data being there. As the adoption is growing in such a large scale, so are the attacks. The attacks on Microsoft is also growing in leaps and bounds. You can see that every year on year, the number of attacks on Microsoft, being a honeypot, is growing day by day. So obviously, there can be a breach, there can be an untoward incident, there can be some kind of disruption that can happen. Nobody can guarantee that it is not going to happen. So how do you basically look it from the standpoint of what happens to my data when something of this sort or some kind of attack happens where data is wiped out or data is not available or Microsoft cannot make it available within a short period of time? What do we do? So why do you think backup is required for M365? I'm putting up a poll again. So why do you think backup of Microsoft Office 365 is required? One, because there is a lot of increased attrition rates in companies. It's anticipated that around every company is facing 15 to 20% of attrition every year. So what happens to the data of the employee who has left the organization? Second is intentional deletion or accidental deletion of data. Third is ransomware attacks or cyber attacks. And the fourth is Microsoft offers a limited retention period. Even if you delete the data, I believe it is only maintaining it for 30 days. So beyond 30 days, you still can't restore that data. And fourth is compliance reasons. Please give your valued opinion of for what reason do you think your backup of Office 65 would be required? Right. So 77% of the respondents said that all of the above reasons. So attrition rate doesn't bother, it seems, but that's also a very significant factor. Take a large company, 100, 200 users leaving the organization. That data is very important. You cannot be keeping the data uh, by backing up in PSTs or some other mechanisms, which becomes very tad difficult to restore. So that is also one of the reasons. But maybe in this forum, people felt that no, attrition is not a significant contributor towards the reason for backing up data. Okay. Now let's look at why attrition is important. Because you when an employee joins an organization, he creates a lot of data. He dwells with a lot of data. When he leaves the organization, what does the administrator do? Then generally delete that mailbox, take a backup. Backup in the sense he just keeps it for 30 days, and after that there is no possibility to back it up because OneDrive data maximum they can orphan the mailbox, but how many orphans can you maintain? That is also a restriction. So there is a restriction on the retention of data. There is a restriction on how many times you can keep that data. So it's very important to have access to those employees' data as well. Intentional deletion, I have been talking to many CIOs, and they say that when it is a very natural phenomenon that when an employee leaves the organization, he tends to delete all the mail trails or data within his tenant, and that is one of some kind of a nag that most of the CIOs are facing, that this their data is not available with them. Ransomware attacks. Today you have linked up your users to store data all on their OneDrive. So when there is a ransomware attack, obviously even the OneDrive will get affected. So where is the backup of that OneDrive? Microsoft offers only 30 days of retention, obviously. So data which is beyond 30 days, you will not be able to restore. You will not be able to raise a ticket with Microsoft to restore that. And obviously the compliance reasons. Today, everybody is taking backup of all their other applications. But what about Office 65? You might be taking a backup of your SAP, you're taking backup of your Salesforce, you might be taking backup of all their HR applications. But what happens to your vital data, which is in your communication tool and productivity tool, which is Office 65? To know more now, I hand over the deck to my colleague Vineet, who will not only explain about backup, the importance of backup and how it is done, taken care by Barracuda, and also touch base upon Entra ID backup, because all your user credentials and user profiles are stored in Entra ID, and how that can be also maintained. So over to you, Vineet. Yeah, now you're audible. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. So as Prashant just mentioned, Microsoft doesn't back up your data, right? That's basically brings us to the fact that why doesn't it back up your data, right? So we have been talking about Microsoft's data like Exchange, your OneDrive, your SharePoint, all of this data, right? Now, Microsoft and other SaaS companies fall under the shared security model, right? The shared security responsibility model, which is basically a framework which tells them that, they have a certain part that they deliver in terms of providing these services and providing the uptime of these services to you. And whereas there is a part that you as a customer have to manage, which is basically the security of your data and your identities, right? This is where we talk about the shared security model and can see how across a cloud platform, be it SaaS, PaaS, or IaaS, there is some or the other responsibility that a CSP has, and then there is the responsibility that the cloud security user or the end user has. Now, we spoke about data and from Exchange, OneDrive, SharePoint, how that is important and how you should back it up. But we haven't touched base on identities, right? Now, Entra ID, for everyone using O365, Entra ID is the heartbeat of the organization, right? Because basically it has everything. It is the keys to your kingdom. It ensures that you have access to your SaaS applications, your internal resources. If you have third-party applications that are integrated with your O365, those are as well integrated with Entra ID. If you use BitLocker, those keys are stored in your Entra ID as well. All of this is managed by your Entra ID portal. And how do you ensure that Entra ID is secure? How do you ensure that the data or these policies and this information that is stored in Entra ID is not lost? So basically, imagine a scenario where multiple security groups are deleted. Now, you may say that you can restore it in some time, but at the same time, there is a huge gap which leads to which loss of business, disruption of business. And then you have to create those groups, check your recycle bins or your Entra ID recycle bins for which groups have been lost, which to restore. And if there have been a considerable time passed, then basically everything is lost. So why should you back up your Entra ID, right? First and foremost, as I mentioned, business continuity. Without Entra ID, your business is disrupted. Your users, your groups, your administrative groups, your conditional policies. Conditional policies could be like, it could be something like a location awareness policy or maybe an SSO policy. Imagine losing all of these, because even if Microsoft gives you some assurance that soft delete is available for users, groups, and applications, for every other object types, it is a hard delete, basically, which means you cannot recover these objects once it is deleted, and one of which is your conditional policies. Imagine you losing this. Now you have lost the keys to your organization. You have to build it from scratch, which is a huge task. So before I go on to my next slides, I'll just want to put up a new poll of why do you think, what are the details that you want to back up? Maybe the poll. Take 5 seconds and we can have the answers. Okay. I hope everyone has answered this poll. Can we have the answers? Wonderful. Well, there are some people who want to just back up their email and OneDrive. And I'm glad to know that people, there are a few individuals out there who want to back up Entra ID as well. Thank you. So how does Barracuda help, right? Now, before going into the depth of what Barracuda can do, I want to share an anecdote, a use case that has happened with one of our customers who uses Barracuda for their backup. This is a manufacturing company that is based out of India. Now, there was an issue that they faced where one of their administrators were trying to make some changes in their Entra ID portfolio and accidentally deleted almost 28 security groups with approximately 5K users in it. Now, if you remember, security groups are not included in the Microsoft 30-day retention. So there was no way to recover those users for that particular for that particular company at that point of time via Microsoft. And fortunately, they had a Barracuda cloud-to-cloud backup through which they were able to restore all these groups within minutes and without any loss to their business. So basically, business continuity was not affected, and users hardly understood that there was such a major outage that affected their organization that day. So how does Barracuda help you do this, right? Barracuda has a product called as the cloud-to-cloud backup. Now, this is a comprehensive data protection solution that ensures backup of your services in your O365 environment, which includes your Exchange Online, your OneDrive, your SharePoint, your MS Teams, and Entra ID. Now, this solution is very simple to deploy. It hardly takes 5 minutes to deploy, and you're set and running. And the backups will start in 5 minutes after the installation. The implementation, you don't need any huge setup. It's a SaaS-based application. It integrates with your O365 tenant, and almost immediately you can go ahead and start backing up your environment. One of the biggest features that we offer you is this backup does not have a cap. We do not cap the storage limits. So it's an unlimited storage and unlimited retention. And all of this is delivered through an India data center. So you don't have to worry about your compliances, your regulations, which talk about data that should reside in India, right? So how do we ensure that this is a ransomware, we are protected from ransomware attacks, this backup, right? So this backup basically is an immutable backup, which basically means that it can't be edited, it can't be tampered. It is, we ensure that it is backed up in a location which is isolated from your 365 tenant, and it is air-gapped from all other forms of access. We also ensure that multiple security features are enabled into our backup. So we ensure that there is encryption for the data in transit and encryption for data at rest. We ensure that there is AES 256 at the data at rest level. And then we top it up with malware scanning and detection for all the files that are stored in cloud-to-cloud backup, along with two-factor authentication and role-based accesses. One other thing that we do is we just don't store one copy. We store 3 different copies of this, of your data, ensuring there is data redundancies as well. And this is how we basically differ from Microsoft when it comes to backing up your cloud-to-cloud infrastructure, your O365 environment. We spoke about how we detect malware in your files, as well as what are the features and what are the services that we back up in your environment. Now, we do malware detection, but how do we do it is what you would be interested in knowing. Now, once you have, as Prashant was mentioning, that ransomware is a huge cause of concern when it comes to data loss, right? Now today, everything is, every user's data or documents and folders are synced with their OneDrive account. So whatever they store in their OneDrive gets synced to that OneDrive account. So if they have, by mistake, downloaded some malicious file in their environment into their desktop, that also gets backed up into your OneDrive, and then the OneDrive gets corrupted. What we do from our end is we basically have multiple copies or versions of your data. So we already have copy of your clean data before it was infected. The second thing that we do is we ensure that if there is a malicious file that was backed up by our solution, if the user tries to restore it back, we ensure that we do malware scanning with intelligent malware detection on those files. The moment we find that it is malicious in nature, we do not allow you to restore it, and also identify an optimal restore point where there was a clean data available for that particular set of data. So this is our way of ensuring that once your data is corrupted or infected with malware, you're not able to download that infected file, but at the same time will allow you to download or restore back an optimal copy, a non-tampered or non-infected copy of that file without any issues. So what are our key takeaways from this solution, from this presentation right now? We provide you recovery for all protected items in your O365 environment. We protect against misconfiguration of your enter ID. We protect against malicious or accidental deletions, and we give you a very optimal and improved recovery time so that your business is not affected. At the same time, ensuring that there is a least amount of administrative overhead through a quick and very simple recovery process, which I'll show you in a small demo that will follow this immediately. So I'll just stop sharing my presentation and move into my demo. Animesh, can you confirm if this is visible?
Yes.
Perfect. So this is how our cloud-to-cloud backup console looks like. It is very minimalistic and very simple to use. As you can see, we don't have a cluttered environment. The only thing that you need to do to configure a backup solution, cloud-to-cloud backup with your O365 tenant, is just click on Add Connection. It will prompt you to put in your global admin credentials. Once that is done, it will show you that, okay, this is activated, and now you can go into dashboards and start backing up your data. So if you see here, I have already backed up a few sample data. We do automatic schedule. We have an automatic schedule that the backup runs on. And at the same time, it also has a manual option to back up your data as many times as you wish to do it. So once the backup of any service is done, you can put in a notification. So you can configure a notification so that anytime a backup is finished, you will get a proper mail with what are if the backup was completed successfully, if there are any errors, what are the errors, and how to resolve it. At the same time, if any task is run, you will have this in the reports as well, to understand if the task was completed, be it a backup task or a restore task. The restoration of the data is also very simple. I'll show you an example of OneDrive. Just give me a minute. So I have my OneDrive here, and let's take an example of this document right at the bottom called test11.12 docx. Now I'm going to delete this immediately. And I'm going to delete it from my recycle bin as well. Now we are just ensuring that it's not there. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I can't access that file anymore. Now let's go back to my restore files. I go and click on OneDrive. Click on my account, which is my personal OneDrive folder. Search the file that I want to put in. And I go ahead and say, I want to restore it. And if I click on the three dots here, I can also show, I'll also get a list of what are the revisions applicable for this file. I don't have any, I've not created any specific revisions, but if there are, I can choose which particular revision to restore as well. So that it's just one copy. I'll do a restore. It will give me two options. You can either select to restore it to the original location, which is my OneDrive, or I can choose an alternate location, which is basically someone else's destination or OneDrive. This is particularly useful in the case of attrition, as Prashant mentioned, right? Wherein you users who have left the organization, you have their data, someone else requires it, you can go ahead and restore that data to that alternate location. I'll do a restore to the original location right now. Give it a few seconds for it to start. The restore has started. I'll go into reports, see that, okay, this is started now. Let's give it a few seconds and I'll refresh my screen. Perfect, it's done. Let's go back to OneDrive. And there you have it. The file is again restored back. It shows modified a few seconds ago because it was just restored. And I can now open it and see what is the content in it. So this is how simple it is to back up and restore back a data from our cloud to cloud backup. And this is not just for OneDrive, this is for Exchange, this is for SharePoint, this is for even for your Entra ID as well. So this is your Entra ID information that's getting backed up. And if I want, I just go click on Entra ID and select what I want to back up, be it groups, roles, users, or administrative users at this point of time. So that was a very short, sweet and short demo because that's the whole solution in a nutshell. That's how simple it is. I'll stop sharing. I think we are well within time limits. I think we can open the floor to discussion and questions. Animesh?
Yeah, there are questions being posted. We have responded to some of them, and let's take up these questions so that we can answer those. One of the questions that was asked is, let's start from the beginning. Is Barracuda offering truly unlimited storage and data retention? The answer is yes. Barracuda Clouds offers unlimited retention, and it is retention not only for the employees which are present, but also for the employees who are no longer with the organization. So backup for them is also maintained by Barracuda. Second question is a repeat question. Is there a no cap on the storage? Then there is no cap on the storage. The third question is malware detection. Is it only for O365 applications or entire infra instance?
So when we say malware detection, it is majorly for your O365 applications, the ones that we are backing up. That's where that's the only part we will detect and stop. So your Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, and your Teams channel data.
Hi, Vineet. Sorry, I
Yeah.
have a question actually here.
Sure.
As we are going to offer the same thing to the customer, that we are going to protect the M365 data.
Mhm.
But for example, if a customer receive a miscellaneous email with a CNC link on it
Sure.
and it got backup. So what are the technologies that we are using? Because I face this question is one of my customer, because they usually got spam emails and the spam backlinks are basically causing their for harming their network. So does our application Barracuda able to identify those emails and make a filter and make it somewhere else so that customer can understand this could be a risky email? You can understand, right? Because
Absolutely.
in India, customer has a mindset, if I move to Microsoft, my spam protection is also there. Everything is taken care by Microsoft, but it is not. When
Absolutely.
we face customer and make them understand, boss, everything is separate, because Microsoft have a additional service for that. So in
That's correct,
what
Kaustubh.
we should answer in such a scenario?
Kaustubh, the answer is two-faced, right? Because when we are talking about backup, it's not we are not talking about a spam filtering solution. Now, your question is basically any mails that has a URL or a spam link or a
Yes.
phishing link in it,
Yes.
that should be not backed up by Barracuda. But the first question that you should be asking yourself or the customer is, why do you not have a very good anti-spam solution, right? Which can
Yeah,
protect you
yeah. We
against
generally do the same,
these
but
things. Yes.
customer ask, if you take backup and if we are claiming for like virus-free restore, because I face
It is
this
virus.
question is one of my customer. That's why
That
I
is
asked.
the no, absolutely. What we are claiming is malware detection and intelligent malware detection. Yes. But at the same time, for URLs and phishing links, you need an additional sandboxing. You need to scan those particular URLs to understand if it is malicious or not. That is something that a backup solution will not do. That's not a job of a backup. It is the job of an anti-spam solution in the first place, or an anti-advanced threat protection in the first place.
Got it. Got it. Thank you.
The next question is how license applies for different MS plans like E1, E5. The Barracuda backup plan is universal. It is applies to all licenses of my M365, be it a business license, business standard, business basic, or it could be E1 or E3 or E5. It is a single license. There is no separate licensing for separate uh, uh, SKUs of Microsoft.
That's correct.
What is the backup frequency? Does this offer real time backup, or what's the minimum time span between two backups? So default backup is twice a day, and but you can extend the number of iterations of backup. You can make it 2 or 3 times in a day, but it's not real time.
Yeah, because it's a backup solution. It's a point in time backup. It has to be done. It will be done on a schedule.
Is it possible to migrate the current backup or archival data which is managed through third-party solutions to Barracuda? So backup is different and archival is different. So if you have backup data already in some other different solution format, then the only way to do it is restore that data and then again backup it in Barracuda. If it is archival, then you have to basically import that data, export it into PSTs, import it into Microsoft, and then again back it up from using Barracuda to cloud backup. Vineet, have I rightly answered the question?
That is correct. I mean, for a archival solution, you can obviously also go for an archival part from Barracuda. But yeah, you more or less covered the gist, Prashant. Yes.
Yes. Yeah. When a file is restored, does it also maintain the versions of the file? The
Yes,
answer
we
is
do.
yes.
Yes, it is unlimited. We create and maintain n number of versions. As many times as you modify, we keep all the versions of that file.
Is only email backup archival also possible, or it's all in one tool? The answer is it's a all-in-one tool. It's a single license, it can back up your email, it can back up your OneDrive, it can back up your SharePoint, it can back up your Teams channel. So there's no separate license only for email. But for archival, yes, Barracuda has a separate offering called Barracuda Cloud Email Archival, where you can only archive emails.
That's right. And that would be a real-time solution where you get real-time archival of mails.
Yes. Now, coming to a very important question, what about deleted or non-licensed users who have left the organization? How will it charge to the customer? So, the charges are applicable only on active users. Users who are no longer there with the organization, that data is already backed up. That data is not charged by Barracuda, but it is available for the administrator to discover that data and restore it to an alternate mailbox, or restore it to maybe if assume that same employee joins back, so you can actually give it back to the same employee. Whether it supports other than Microsoft applications. No, this is only strictly for Office 65, because Office 65 has APIs available for allowing third party to back up their data. And that is the very reason they have actually opened up this. Is the license a tenant based? The answer is no. It is user based license, and number of active users that we need to subscribe for. One question which you need to answer, is it multi-tenancy supported? So in case customer has multiple tenants of Office 65, will Barracuda Backup support multiple tenants?
Yes, we do support multi-tenancy as well. Yes.
How long the data will be retained? The data retained, data is retained as long as you are basically subscribed to the Barracuda Cloud Archival, Barracuda Cloud Backup, and there is no retain. You can maintain it forever. So file is restored along with its all version. The answer is yes. We have answered this question before. So all the granularity recovery is possible. Version is fine. So we have done that.
I think there is another question that is open. Do you have any local to cloud backup solution, backup option? When you say local to cloud, do you mean your server level backup? Is that what is meant? I think that. Okay, the attendees don't have mics. Okay. So when you say, do you have any local to cloud backup, I am a bit confused. We do only cloud to cloud backup, but we have a local backup solution as well, which can back up your, your local servers and your workloads on premise. But that is a different solution, which is an appliance-based solution. And this is only for your cloud or your O365 tenant as such.
Yeah, I guess there's one more question that we missed. That is, can you explain about your licensing details?
Yeah, I think we have answered that. The licensing is per user based, and it is unlimited with unlimited retention and unlimited storage. So that is not a problem. Yeah, so servers or NAS boxes, yes, we support that, but it is through a different solution. We have an on-premise backup solution as well, but that's an appliance-based solution. Yes.
So that brings us to the one golden question. Can you please take up the poll, Animesh, to ask how many participants would be interested to explore the Barracuda Cloud Backup, cloud to cloud backup? It's not mandatory, but basically, at least we believe that you should actually opt in for at least your C-level executives in your company, because those are the ones you are answerable to. If you maintain backup for them, you will be at least in some situation to restore data if there is any untoward incident. Okay. So that brings us to the end of this presentation. Hope it was insightful, and it will definitely add value to your overall resilience of your IT infrastructure.
And for the ones that we have not answered, I think we will get back to you soon with all the answers. Someone will reach out from from our team to answer your remaining
Sure,
questions.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure, and thank you for attending. Thank you.